Hey, what's up everyone? My name is Nigel, and today we're going to be doing a quick review of the Feiyutech Vlogpocket. So yeah, this is the Feiyutech Vlogpocket, and it is a $99 smartphone gimbal. And as you can see, unlike a lot of things that claim to be pocket size, this one is actually really small. This is my iPhone 6s Plus, and you can kind of get a little bit of a size comparison there. You might recognize this kind of folding design. DJI actually just released their Osmo Mobile 3, which actually has a pretty similar design to this, but I'm pretty sure that this Feiyutech Vlogpocket came out before the DJI one did. But yeah, a pretty cool design where you can actually just flip the gimbal up like this, lock it down, and then your smartphone just goes right here. One thing I really like about this design is that there's no motors that are blocking movement like left or right. So it's actually a lot easier to balance your smartphone on a gimbal like this. Just as a small demonstration, I'll show you. When I put my phone here, it's a lot easier to balance because there's nothing stopping me from going, further to the right or further to the left, which that's a pretty cool thing because when you start adding weight to one end, you can just counterbalance it by pushing more weight to the other end and balancing it that way. But when I attach this on, obviously it's gonna add weight to this side of my phone. So if I push more of my phone to this end, it'll help counterbalance that. So when I power it up, it actually is balanced and you can still get really nice smooth shots. This comes into play as well when you start adding lenses. I have a Moment case on here, and if I put one of the Moment lenses on here, I can actually get it pretty perfectly balanced without having to use any kind of a counterbalance like you would have to do on some of the other gimbals where one of the motors would be, protruding out here and blocking movement from one side. So that's one thing that I really like about this gimbal design. Another thing that was designed to be done with the Vlogpocket is vertical video, which honestly I don't use all that often because I don't do a lot of like Instagram stories or Snapchats, but with 2 clicks of the button you can switch it to portrait mode and get really nice smooth Instagram stories or something like that. And with 2 clicks it goes right back to landscape mode. So that's pretty cool. Another thing that I really like about this Vlogpocket is actually within the app. So Feiyutech has an app that obviously works with the Vlogpocket, and there's a lot of really cool features packed in that app. One thing that I really like to do is motion time lapses, which this can do. It can also do things like panoramas, or one of the things that I really like is a super wide angle shot. So if you don't have a wide angle lens but you still want to get a wide angle shot, this gimbal can help you do that as long as there's no moving things in your shot. What it basically does is it pans and tilts around and takes a bunch of photos and then stitches them together to make one big wide angle shot, which I really liked. And the video features of the app are actually pretty cool too. You can get full manual control of your video, which I think is pretty cool because you can actually shoot some pretty good quality video within the Feiyutech app. It even has a couple of filters that you can apply if you just want to bake them right into your video. I don't really do that, but if you wanted to play with them, you could. But yeah, as far as the footage goes, you can actually get really smooth footage with this little Feiyutech Vlogpocket. It works just as well as a lot of the other smartphone gimbals that I've used, and although it doesn't have a bunch of the pro features that you would expect from more expensive gimbals, it does basically everything that I would need it to do. By default, it's kind of in pan follow and not tilt follow, but if you want the tilt, you just hold down on this little trigger and it will tilt with you, which I think is pretty cool. But yeah, 99% of the time what I want to do with these smartphone gimbals is get really nice follow shots or gliding type shots, and this gimbal is perfectly capable of doing that. Sure, it doesn't have a crazy amount of features in it, but what it does really well. It does come with this little tripod that you can attach to the bottom here. So obviously adding something like this will give you a little bit of extra grip, but it also is a tripod, so you can set it down on a table and balance your phone if you need to. But with this, it does become bigger and not really able to fit in your pocket. But as far as cons with this little gimbal, honestly, there aren't a lot. You really have to keep in mind that this is, again, a $99 gimbal, so you can't be expecting everything. But one of the cons that I think could probably have made it into this gimbal was like a little joystick, something that you could mess around with the pan and the tilt. There is no way to do that. In the app you can mess around with the pan and tilt, but you can't do it while you're recording, so it's really kind of pointless. And my only other complaint with this gimbal is not really the gimbal at all, it's just within the app. Remember how I said that you could do motion time lapses? You can, but the only caveat is that you can't lock your exposure or manually set your exposure for your time lapse. So it's gonna actually change exposures while it's panning or tilting or whatever in your motion time lapse, which you might think, oh, that's really cool that it'll auto exposure, but auto exposure is not always something that you want. Sometimes you just want your exposure to be set manually, and right now you can't do it with the app. So I think that's a pretty easy fix. Feiyutech, if you're listening to this, please provide a way to manually set your exposure while you're doing motion time lapses. But other than that, it's a really cool gimbal. 99 bucks, gives you really nice smooth shots. Yeah, it's actually pocketable. So if you're a smartphone filmmaker and maybe you travel a lot and you want something that will just do what you need it to do, which is to get like really nice smooth shots, this can totally do that for you. If you are really into making Instagram stories or Snapchats, this can totally add a new element to your Instagram story abilities. So yeah, that was my really quick review of the Feiyutech Vlogpocket. I really like it. If you like this video, hit the like button. There's a bunch of links in the description below, but other than that, I think that's all I got. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Later.